HCG is pretty close to LH. But the problem is, guys, is that it's not a complete match. It's about 80% fits the luteinizing hormone, the LH receptor sites on the Leydig cells in the testicles, which produce testosterone, but it's not a complete match. However, look at this. Here's a big problem. HCG only fits about 15% onto the FSH receptor binding sites. HCG only stimulates testicles. It cannot do anything to reverse pituitary atrophy. Moving on. Ganetorellin is a perfect synthetic copy of your body's natural GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Creates a perfect LH and FSH that fits 100%. Let's move on to the last point. Stimulates testicles and pituitary. So whereas HCG only stimulates the testicles, Ganetorellin hydrochloride will stimulate the testicles and the pituitary. So you keep the pituitary and the testicles from atrophying when taking testosterone replacement therapy. Guys, that's pretty much it. TRT Unleashed. Let's answer the question. TRT Unleashed, which is better for TRT, HRT, and for fertility? Ganetorellin hydrochloride all day, every day. Yo, what's going on, guys? Seth Spartan here, nutrition, training, and hormone expert, and Prometheus Pro bodybuilder with Prometheus HRT, the world's best testosterone and hormone replacement clinic. Guys, use my code Spartan to save on either testosterone or HGH replacement. Guys, today we're going to be talking about TRT Unleashed, HCG versus Ganetorellin hydrochloride, everything you need to know. So let's get started. So, HCG versus Ganetorellin hydrochloride. Which is better? Which is superior for an add-on for either TRT or HRT in terms of fertility and keeping endocrine function and sexual ability at the max? Let's get started. So we're going to start over with HCG because HCG is the most common known fertility add-on with TRT or HRT or endocrinology in general. So we're just going to start with HCG. Just because this is more familiar, and then once we go through everything you need to know, the basics and maybe some stuff that you guys don't know, then we're going to go through Ganetorellin hydrochloride and let you guys know what you should be doing. Let's get started. So HCG, the most common of the two, half-life of 33.5 hours when injected sub-Q. If you're injecting intramuscularly, it's going to be a little bit faster. But anyway, sub-Q injection with HCG, right around 33.5 hours. That comes to about a day and a half half-life with a typical sub-Q injection. So pretty long half-life, but this is where things get interesting with HCG and maybe some stuff you didn't know in here. So here we go. HCG only fits the LH receptor site about 80%. What do you mean by that? What does that mean? Guys, basic breakdown. Pituitary gland in the brain releases LH and FSH hormone. This travels to the testicles. LH binds onto the Leydig cells in the testicles, which produce testosterone. And then then FSH binds onto the Sertoli cells, which start producing sperm. So LH, FSH released from the pituitary. LH binds Leydig cells, testosterone. FSH binds Sertoli cells, creates sperm production. So what's the issue here? HCG only fits that LH receptor site on the Leydig cells in the testicles about 80%. Why? Why would this be? Great question. Let's answer this. So HCG is not actually found in males. Well, where does it come from then? HCG is a long-time fertility drug and hormone that has been taken, basically copied either It used to be taken from women, but then when we had more advanced technologies, now it's created synthetically in labs. So HCG is not a male hormone. It's not, it's not found in the male body. HCG is the pregnancy hormone that's found in women, pregnant women. So then why are we using HCG? Why is HCG one of the most popular fertility drugs for men, and also one of the most popular add-on drugs for testosterone hormone replacement therapy in terms of preserving sexual function, libido, and endocrine ability in males? Well, because HCG basically is almost, it's not a perfect match, but it's a pretty darn close match to LH that the male body would produce to stimulate testosterone. So HCG, once scientists realized that HCG, hey, it could probably be used in males. It's pretty close. HCG is pretty close to LH. But the problem is, guys, is that it's not a complete match. It's about 80% fits the luteinizing hormone, the LH receptor sites on the Leydig cells in the testicles, which produce testosterone, but it's not a complete match. It does not, the key and the lock isn't perfect. So, but one huge good bonus with HCG, again, the long half-life. But HCG only fits about luteinizing hormone about 80%, but still it's pretty good. And, you can increase testosterone with HCG to a pretty high extent, just with HCG alone. Again, it's a pretty good fit, 80%. However, look at this. Here's a big problem. HCG only fits about 15% onto the FSH receptor binding sites. What does this mean? This means that while HCG can arguably and should arguably be argued as a potential LH replacement, it cannot be a good replacement for follicle stimulating hormone, which follicle stimulating hormone's role is, like I said, you guessed it, to produce sperm. So in terms of HCG and sperm production, it just doesn't fit those receptor sites well. Again, about 15%. These figures can be argued a little bit, but it does not fit FSH well. Having said that, guys, if HCG doses are cranked through the roof, you're going to get more FSH binding, but it does not change the fact that the HCG molecule does not fit LH right or perfectly, and it especially is very inefficient. It does not fit FSH hardly at all. Okay, and you're not going to get stimulation of FSH unless dosages are through the roof, and then that can cause desensitization on the cellular level. But we'll save that for another video. So moving on, we talked about this, extremely important. HCG only stimulates testicles. Let me say that again. HCG only stimulates the testicles, and those LH and FSH receptor sites. It's not able to stimulate anything but the testicles, the Leydig cells, and the Sertoli cells, namely. So this has to be said in terms of a hormone replacement, or in terms of a fertility aid, both for fertility treatment, TRT, HRT, HCG is only as good on when addressing testicular issues and also testicular atrophy. It cannot do anything to reverse pituitary atrophy. Moving on. All right, let's talk about Ganetorellin hydrochloride, HCl. Completely different animal, guys. This is in a completely different ballpark, respectively on its own. So Ganetorellin HCl. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. Half-life of right around 5 minutes. Extremely short half-life. Now this half-life route, can differ slightly, between 2 to 10 minutes, in the literature, depending on is it intravenous, intramuscular, or sub-Q, but still 2 to 10 minutes is extremely short half-life, in the pharmacokinetics. So Ganetorellin, 2 to 10 minute half-life depending on route, but right around 5 minutes, with sub-Q, creates a perfect LH and FSH that fits 100%. Now this might be obvious, Why? Because Ganetorellin, HCl, is really, Ganetorellin is really, Ganetorellin is a perfect synthetic copy of your body's natural GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. So your hypothalamus senses the hormone levels in the bloodstream, and the hypothalamus then releases GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, which travels about yay far to the pituitary gland in the center of the brain, and then the pituitary will kick out, boom, LH and FSH, which we already talked about. So obviously, in regards to this, look what's happening. The Ganetorellin, which is a perfect synthetic match, then attached on with hydrochloride to make it more, to preserve its function, and also, you know, when you reconstitute it, it's just going to stay stable longer. But regardless, the Ganetorellin, synthetic GnRH, we could call it, is going to basically stimulate a large pulse, depending on dosage taken, but it's going to stimulate a large pulse from the pituitary gland, which is, again, going to fit the testicle, the testicle receptor sites, namely on the Leydig and Sertoli cells perfectly. Why? Because obviously it is making perfect natural LH and FSH. Your body's making it. Just like, you know, if you were to take growth hormone releasing peptides, we could talk about ipamorelin, hexarelin, GHRP2, GHRP6, these growth hormone releasing peptides. The growth hormone that comes from that is perfect. It's 100%, you know, 100% pharmaceutical, natural grade. It's going to fit perfectly, you know, anywhere in the body. It doesn't get any better than that. In the same way, Ganetorellin, HCl, is going to do the same thing. You know, again, it's originally released from the hypothalamus in the brain, but it's going to tell the pituitary gland to stimulate perfect LH, FSH. It's going to hit the testicles, and here's the beauty of this. It's going to hit the testicles and stimulate. It's going to hit the testicles with a large pulse of LH and FSH, which is going to stimulate the LH, stimulating the Leydig cells, produce testosterone, and then it's the FSH to stimulate the Sertoli cells to kick up sperm production. And here's the beauty, guys. Here's the absolute beauty of Ganetorellin hydrochloride. Since it is a complete synthetic match to your brain's own GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, and since it has that really short half-life, there is no desensitization with this drug. And even if you take this at very high dosages, you know, we're talking 100 to 200 micrograms, which is going to create a huge pulse, it's going to resensitize, and it's going to be resensitized within a few hours, just because it's in and out of your system very, very quick. So this can be used day in, day out, day in, day out. Effective, powerful, cheap, and natural can be argued the best route. And not only, guys, you know, we talk about HCG not fitting FSH. Well, here you get the LH stimulation, and you get the FSH stimulation, and you get a lot of it. And if you were to try and order FSH, you know, made in the laboratory, or recumbent, I believe they can make recumbent FSH. It's going to cost so much money. FSH is extremely expensive. Also, you know, so the thing is that this really is a humongous win-win in terms of TRT, HRT, or for fertility. So anyways, let's move on to the last point. Stimulates testicles and pituitary. So whereas HCG only stimulates the testicles, Ganetorellin hydrochloride will stimulate the testicles and the pituitary. So with HCG, you can address not all, but most of, guess what, testicular atrophy. But you cannot address pituitary atrophy, which happens still because the pituitary is a gland. Okay, you know, it just happens. However, with Ganetorellin, you keep the pituitary and the testicles from atrophying when taking testosterone replacement therapy. And again, short half-life. You can take this once a day. I'm going to ask my doctor for an increase and the Ganetorellin just because I want to be taking it every day. I've been currently taking it every other day when I do my testosterone injections. But the Ganetorellin is, I have a prescription for both HCG and Ganetorellin. I've used HCG a long time. It's great. But the issue with HCG, guys, and a lot of people are going to be nodding their heads at this, HCG can cause, some cases, in my case, HCG can cause anxiety, okay? HCG can cause anxiety just because it's a constant stimulation. And it does not fit the receptor sites perfectly. And one other con is that it's possible to have a little bit of downregulation that comes back when you stop HCG or you lower the dosage down. But it's not a perfect match. A little bit of desensitization can occur, and it only stimulates the testicles. So there's three small cons, or I would argue this one's a big con, and also the FSH, but there's three cons when using HCG. The really good thing about it is, again, it's got a longer half-life, but if you're using this at higher dosages, you're going to have a little bit of desensitization. Whereas Ganetorellin, hydrochloride, short half-life equals no desensitization, immediate, and pretty much instantaneous upregulation within that day. If you take that day within 24 hours or even shorter, it's the receptor sites will upregulate. So extremely short half-life. You're able to create huge pulses of your body's natural LH and FSH. And again, you're getting perfect binding, where we talked about HCG or not. And you're stimulating both the testicles and pituitary. So on paper, guys, and again, I've used both HCG and Ganetorellin HCl. I have a prescription for both. I've used both. And I can tell you guys without a doubt, Ganetorellin HCl is by far the best option. It is, I've done both at the same time. I've used one, I've used the other. Ganetorellin HCl is amazing. Not only does it keep your sexual function topped up, but you don't have any of the sides with HCG. And one thing that can be said about HCG is HCG actually can increase estrogen to a decent amount depending on how much you're using. We can get into the pharmacokinetics of that later, and the physiology of that later, why this happens. But it has to do with the half-life and also stimulation of the aromatase enzyme. So, guys, that's pretty much it. TRT Unleashed. Let's answer the question. TRT Unleashed, which is better for TRT, HRT, and for fertility? Ganetorellin, hydrochloride, all day, every day, for the reasons that I talked about. HCG is not worthless. It's not invaluable. But the thing is that the biggest problem with HCG is it does not fit the FSH receptor site well. I talked to my doctor about this, and he agreed with me. On that point, it just does not fit the FSH receptor site well. So you're not going to get the Serotoli cells primed and producing sperm. It's just not good for fertility with that. Of course, you can force it if you're using higher dosages, but it's just not that effective with FSH, and it does not stimulate the pituitary. So, HCG is good, but Ganetorellin HCl is by far the best. And guys, if you need Ganetorellin HCl, or if you're currently taking TRT, HRT, and you're like, man, I've been doing HCG for a long time, I'd love to try Ganetorellin HCl. You can either ask your clinic if they have Ganetorellin HCl. It's more of an advanced hormone replacement clinic option. A lot of clinics don't offer it yet, but feel free to sign up at Prometheus HRT. They'll call your testosterone company, send over the labs, and you can get switched over seamlessly immediately. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. HCG versus Ganetorellin HCl, everything you need to know. Stay safe, stay healthy, guys. Check with your doctor before you do anything. But I can tell you personally, Ganetorellin HCl by far is the superior option in terms of fertility, libido, and male sexual function. Guys, that's it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we are out of here.